of the victim, and we want to thank her for coming. I really appreciate it. I want to thank the Crown Heights Jewish Community Council for their hospitality, and I particularly want to thank Rabbi Cohen and Kenita Sperling. I want to thank the Borough President of Brooklyn Borough, President Adams, as well as Councilmember Lori Cumbo, of course, Senator Hamilton, and of course, our very good friend, State Senator Dov Hikind, for joining us here today. Right. So we are here today to stand in unity against an alleged hate crime that has taken place here in Crown Heights. But it really has no place anywhere in the city of New York, and particularly here in Crown Heights. Yehuda Brickma was a young man. He's a newlywed. And this week is supposed to be the happiest time of his life. He was married 1 week ago. And yesterday morning he was leaving a religious bookstore, walking home, when he was randomly attacked, stabbed in the back. And now we all pray for a speedy recovery. And we pray that he comes back to us.
Amen.
But we are here together because we will not be divided. We all stand as beacons of unity and of cooperation and of hope. And basically to send a strong message to the perpetrator of this crime, that you will be brought to justice. And that perpetrator is still at large. We've also been joined by our great controller of the city of New York, Scott Stringer.
Thank you. Okay.
You're welcome.
Come over here.
Because this community and this city belongs to all New Yorkers, regardless of their religion or their skin color. But what really is disturbing is not only the attack upon this young man, but the fact is that we've had nearly a dozen incidents targeting the Jewish community in the 5 boroughs within the last 3 months of 2015. And in fact, there was a recent attack just in November against a Hatzolah volunteer, a man literally spending his free time to save the lives of others, dedicating his life to others. And he was randomly stabbed in a nearly identical manner. And so over the years, we have unfortunately stood together, and I thank Mr. Caldwell, the chairman of 77 Precinct Council, Rich, joining us as well. We have unfortunately stood together for far too many hate crimes and crimes of violence, and we stand together again once today as a strong symbol of peace and understanding. We are a city and a country built by a diverse fabric of communities and faiths. And today we continue to be sewn together in a quilt of compassion and unity and understanding and respect, and most importantly, peace. People of all faiths and those who do not believe any faith at all. People of all races and all ethnicities. We must all stand together against this type of hate. You will be caught. It's just a matter of time. I have complete confidence in NYPD.
All right.
No more will we tolerate no longer want to hold another mother, another wife.
Thank you.
And we cry with her today, and we thank her.
Thank you.
And now we're going to turn it over to our controller of the city of New York, Controller Scott Stringer.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Public Advocate Tish James, for bringing us all together, the religious community, the NYPD, our public officials. Thank you for this moment that we can all gather and make it very clear to the people who think this kind of evil is going to tear us apart. We're here to tell you it's not, because we are totally united in a belief that by staying together and being strong and rallying together, that we are not going to tolerate hate attacks on any group. And then we make them an example because we mock them, we don't respect them, we actually know they're going to go to prison for a long time. And I just want to say personally that this terrible tragedy is going to be tracked down until we get these people. So I just want to once again thank the public advocate. It's great to be in Crown Heights with so many diverse people, right, Council Member? Because you're here, and Dov and everybody, and Rabbi, I know that you've always called us together. So thank you, Tish, for giving me this opportunity to join in coalition. Thank you very much.
The question is, why do we come together on an occasion like this? And the reason we come together is because regardless of the depravity, the strange workings of one individual's mind, community as a whole has to make a statement that this is not what we tolerate. This is not what we believe in. This is not where we're going. And we've made tremendous strides in bringing people together over the years, and this is continuing to go in this way. So when it comes to a time like this, and we've just been joined by our great borough president. Come on up, Eric. So when it comes to a time like this, when something happens that is so just unfathomable, what goes into a person's mind that they should take a step like this just without randomly in the middle of the street just to attack another person? You have to question that. Even though we can't get into their mind, what we can do is, as a community, we come to get together and say, this is not part of us. This is not us. This is not what we believe in. It doesn't matter what we look like. It doesn't matter what we believe in. It doesn't matter how we conduct our lives. But this is not us. We appreciate their presence. I also want to mention one other person in the room, and that is Rabbi Lieder. Rabbi Lieder is standing next to Mrs. Brickman, and Rabbi Lieder is the chaplain of Kings County, which has one of the best trauma units in the city. That's where Rabbi Brickman was taken immediately when he was hurt, and he has done tremendous work just looking after many people in the community who needed help, including, unfortunately, over the years, several victims like this. And also, he's standing with Mrs. Brickman and has been a great comfort to and help to the family, and we appreciate his involvement too.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. I wish there could be at better times, but as Rabbi Cohen said, there is a reason why we get together during these kind of times, and there is a reason why we come together, even though it's after the fact. Even though it's after the incident already happened, even though it's after the crime already happened, and after already this evil was already brought in, because with every single type of act like this, especially an act that is an act of violence, a tragic act, an act that is, at least for now, is being investigated as a hate crime, there's a certain energy of evil that's generated in this world and in this city. And to counter that, we generate together a much stronger energy and a much stronger power, because the voices of the peaceful people would otherwise not be recognized. We wouldn't see that there's people every single place, in every single house, and looking at this and saying, this is bad. I want to separate myself from this. I want to separate, and I want to take a stand against this. So there is something that is happening at the time when we come together. There is an energy that's happening. There's a recognition of each other. And especially when it's leaders that are representing large groups of people, this is saying that we are going to outcast this type of behavior. This is not going to be left alone. This is not going to be forgotten. The perpetrator is going to be found. And the NYPD needs us to be there, needs our support, needs to hear that we are there and we are going to be vigilant. We are not going to go back 20 years of work and labor and struggle and unity and everything that we built over here in Crown Heights and all over New York City. We're not going to go back to those days of crime happening on the streets and people being mugged on every street corner. That's not going to happen again. But unfortunately, we're seeing in the world right now these type of random crimes, and these random crimes are much more dangerous sometimes than targeted crimes, because targeted crimes are easier to root them out at the source. When the random crimes against random victims, we have to stand together as a people and be vigilant, walking around on the street, going to the police, making sure that they know that we're looking out and that we're supporting them. And the police are, thank God, in New York City are just getting better and better every day. More professional, more sensitive, more vigilant. And I want to thank them. I want to thank the NYPD for their really, really good work and give them encouragement to go forward. And I want to thank everybody over here for being a part of generating this energy. Thank you very much for coming together.
Thank you.
And again, the public advocate, late last night while she was at an event, we were communicating around this issue, and we really commend you for just being on top. And I think it was said, I think that the chairman said it best, in a different day and time, an act like this would have pulled the community apart. But because of some of the things that Devorah and others in this community have done throughout the years, when things like this happen, we come together. Several months ago, we had a similar stabbing The person is still at large, of my understanding. We don't know if this is the same culprit who's doing this. That's why it's extremely important. Whoever saw something, they should say something, and they should do something and notify the NYPD. And so let's continue to keep our community together. This is one Crown Heights that came from the levy of this community. This is one community, and we'll continue to do so. And I thank all of us. Let's continue to be together. As long as we are together as a community, no one will ever be able to divide us. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to thank everybody for gathering together in the 35th District, which I believe is the greatest district in the city of New York. We are a diverse district. We are a microcosm of the city of New York. We represent the very best of what New York has to offer, and that is our diversity. Those are our different opinions. Those are our different religions, our different races, our different economic backgrounds. And for those that choose to live in the 35th Council District, we do so because we love that diversity and we love the spirit that exists here in the 35th Council District. I don't ever want that to change. I want to make sure that we preserve that we protect that. And as so many have said before, what we really want to express to the community at large is that we want to make sure that when situations like this happen, that people come forward with information. We can't continue to protect people in our community. We can't allow them to stay in the shadows, because what we think, or what people may be thinking, is that they're going to get away with this and they're not going to do it again. These individuals are living on the edge. They are over the edge. They are mentally not sound. And if we think that they are not going to commit a crime like that against anyone in the community, we are wrong. We are very wrong about that. So I want to make sure that in our communities, if we know who these individuals are, that we come forward. We have identification. We know who the individual is. We are going to make sure that we work hard as a community to find that particular individual. And as Devorah Halberstam said earlier this morning, we're talking a lot about the All Lives Matter movement. But what I want to express is what Devorah Halberstam has said. All life is sacred, and every single person's life is sacred. And I can't even imagine how I would feel if someone randomly stabbed me, what that would do to me mentally, psychologically, how that would impact my family, how that would impact me, how I felt about living in the city. And it's been said, we have to make sure that when incidents like this happen, that we come forward in the way that we have. Because if we don't, then we're sending a message that we're accepting that as our new norm. And that's why these particular gatherings are so important. Now, what I want to add to this conversation is that, as it's been said by our controller and many others, this diversity and this gathering is so important. But what I want to challenge us to do as well is that we are the same people that continue to gather. I want to challenge us, and I want to continue to work with the community to uplift and elevate the voices of our young people in our communities. Our young people, we need them. We need their ideas. We need their solutions. We need their creativity. We need to bring forward the next voice in Crown Heights and beyond to come up with new solutions, because they have those new ideas. They have that creativity, and it's important that we bring them together. We're currently working on initiatives to bring our young people together in our community. Many of the leaders here are working to do that, and I want to continue to do that, because that's what's going to make Crown Heights the Crown Heights that we all dream of. And when we think about the 25th anniversary of what has happened, of the Crown Heights riots, what I think is the beauty in this is that in this situation, it doesn't become something that unravels the community. The action of one person who is mentally out of it, insane, to do something like that is not a representative of the entire community. And that's how we have evolved as a society. So it's important that we recognize that. It's important that we continue to work together. And it's important that we continue to elevate the voices of the next generation, because they are the ones that are going to take on the true mantle of One Crown Heights. Thank you.
Thank you. At 212-885-7700. And now, someone who knows hate as well. Ladies and gentlemen, someone who has created a great institution in our community, Devorah Halberstam. Devorah? My shoe shopping friend.
I just need to move over.
Go ahead.
This is what I wanted to.
No, I know.
Looking at this mother, yes, that's what I said. I'm so happy to that your son is getting better. We'll continue to pray for him.
Amen.
And that's really, I'm looking at your face, and she's the one who really is taking the brunt of it. Every mother that is in this community and beyond could only imagine the pain of what she's going through now, watching your own child. When you get that phone call that somebody tried to harm your child. So that's all I can say.
Thank you so much.
Isn't that really good?
Thank you.
Thank
I feel
you.
it. I feel it.
Thank you. And now we're going to hear from a great leader and a great champion, and a friend of not only Borough Park, but all throughout the city of New York and this nation. Ladies and gentlemen, Assemblymember Dov Hikind.
Here we go.
I think everything has been said almost that needed to be said. First, Tish, controller, elected officials, thank you for being here. Thank you for the leaders of the community here. Thank you for calling this together. And of course, the New York City Police Department. You guys are the front line. You guys put yourself out there every single day, risking your lives for us. And we appreciate it. We know how seriously you take crimes of this kind in particular. Look, I'm very disturbed. I'm concerned about a lot of things that are going on in the city. I know we're told that crime is down and down and down, but there are a number of things happening on a regular basis these days that really is of great concern to everybody and should be of great concern. You know, just a couple of days ago in Borough Park, we had a Hasidic gentleman who was walking the streets, not bothering anybody, and he was attacked by 3 individuals who did not ask him for any money or didn't try to rob him. You know, robbery is not a good thing. But, you know, there's a motive.
Right.
Okay? But in that case, you know what's funny? He told them, he says, I got money in my pockets because they weren't doing anything in terms of trying to rob him. And there have been a number of incidents. Some have gotten attention, some have not gotten attention. And this particular thing that happened in Crown Heights in the past 24 hours is extremely disturbing. I mean, Devorah so appropriately, if we could just imagine a member of our family walking the streets.
That's right.
By the way, not in Israel, where they stab people on a regular basis and people don't get it. They just stab them. They walk over and stab them. And they're not mentally deranged, by the way, necessarily, right? Not all of them. They have a purpose. There's a reason, a horrible reason to hurt an innocent person. So we don't know what this is yet. We do know one thing, that the people of the Jewish community in particular, not just in Crown Heights, but in all communities, you know, now you got to look around. You can't just walk anymore because you got to be careful, because you got to keep your eyes open, because you don't know, it takes a single moment for something to happen and then you're in trouble. So people are very deeply concerned as to who the person who perpetrated this, whether there's any connection to anything else.
That's right.
And, you know, right now we're wishing the guy's just nuts, crazy. Okay? But we don't know, and that is of great concern. And we are concerned about things that are happening in the city of New York, in particular, directed against the Jewish community where there's no motive. There's no motive. The attack on Avenue M recently, the horrible attack, 2 people were arrested. So many others, the motive was not to take anything from the victim. It was just to inflict pain, to hurt a member of our community. So I got to tell you, I'm concerned in spite of the police commissioner and everybody else, and I'm a great fan. You know, crime is down, 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 but we're living it every single day in a way that really affects us. In this community, in my community, and by the way, in every community. We have a kid, I went to visit him, 17 years old, 3 weeks ago. He's coming home from yeshiva, he's listening to music. And this young person comes towards him, listening to music, on the way home from yeshiva, gets punched in the face. Nothing else. His, you know, the music thing that he's listening, whatever you call that, you know, the person who perpetrated this horrible act. And by the way, changed this young person forever.
That's right.
Okay, what is it like to get punched in the face? What is it like to get stabbed? What is it like for the parents from this point and on? So, God bless everybody here, and we do this way too often here in Crown Heights in particular.
Yes.
But thank God for the elected officials, and thank God for the people of this community and the citywide elected officials who come out here and they stand with the community. And, we need that. That's an extremely important message. But I am not completely satisfied with that in terms of what's happening. Is something happening that we should be concerned about that we're first going to recognize 6 months from now or a year from now? And that needs to be addressed in a very, very serious way. I've got a problem with Jews being stabbed. I've got a problem with kids being punched in the face for no reason at all, simply because they're Jews. I've got a problem with that. Because I had a grandmother who went straight to the gas chamber. Okay, so I sort of get what hate can do and what it can cause. So, I'm going to pray tonight that the person who's going to be apprehended, there's no doubt, the police department is on his case, trust me. I hope you guys tell us this guy just got out of a mental institution, but I don't believe that's going to be the case. But I'm hoping, I'm going to pray tonight that that is the case, because then I'll sleep better at night. I'll feel better at night. So thank you, everybody. Thanks for inviting me, that I can be part of the unity that you represent for the people of the city of New York. God bless you and thank you.
Thank you so much.
Your son, Rabbi Brinkman, for this horrific attack on him. I was shocked to hear that it happened. This is actually our second press conference today. Myself, Lori Cumbo, and Devorah spoke out against it in the Brownsville area of Brooklyn. And what I'm here to say is that I'm glad that we're together as one community. And when I went to Israel and saw a young man stabbed for no reason but him being Jewish, I was traumatized. I said, oh my God, they just stabbed this young man for no reason at all but for him being Jewish. And seeing that happen, I said, how would I feel if I had to walk through the streets, not knowing, looking over my shoulder every day, if I'm going to be attacked, not because of anything that I've done, but because who I am. And so that's why when I came back to Brooklyn, I said, I have to do something. I had to do something. And that's when we had the Iranian deal. And I said, I'm going to vote against this Iranian deal. I'm going to make sure I protect Jews in Israel, Jews in Brooklyn. I'm going to fight terrorism. I'm going to fight anti-Semitism anywhere I see it. And I stood by Duff Hiking together, and we protested together in Simcha Felder and said we will protect Israel at any cost. And that's what we're going to continue to do. And so when I came back, thank you, Tish. When I came back, I said, we need to do something. I am the ranker for mental health. And as the ranker, I'm starting to see a pattern that many people who have mental issues are not getting the help they need. People are living in pain, and they're not talking about it. They're living in pain, and they're hurting themselves. A young man slit his wrist and cut his throat and killed his dog. So we know who these individuals are, but there's a stigma in our community to get psychiatric help. And so what we have done, I have passed for the first time, introduced for the first time, legislation that every teacher in New York State, myself and Marcos Crespo, that every teacher in New York State take a mental health course to make sure that our children get the mental help they need, because they're crying out for help. The average person does not walk up and stab someone. So I hope this person has a mental issue, and we have to get the word out. We have to let this person know, if you're hurting, tell someone. Speak to your pastor. Speak to your rabbi. Speak to your teacher. Speak to someone. So we have to get the word out that if we know someone has a mental issue, talk about it. Spread the word. We know these individuals are. The police department is doing a great job, and then we can point them out. The people who we know are doing the wrong things, and we can apprehend them and work together. So I'm here again today. I hate coming to these events where people are being staffed for no reason other than being Jewish. But I will say to you, everybody here, to the mother, will stand by you. I will stand by you, and I will fight anti-Semitism anywhere I go, either from here, across the world. We have to work together as one, and we have shown it in Crown Heights. We are the beacon of how a community should live together and operate together. And it shows that how, as unity and unified we are, we can make a change. And so I just want to say thank you everybody for coming out. Thank you, Tish, for making this happen.
No problem.
Thank you.